What if everything you think you know about yourself is just a mask, a role you've been playing for years without even realizing it? In this video, we're diving into Friedrich Nietzsche's powerful guide to discovering who you really are, not the version shaped by society, family, or other people's expectations, but the raw, unapologetic truth of your own essence. If you've ever felt stuck, lost, or trapped in a life that doesn't feel truly yours, Nietzsche's philosophy could be the key that unlocks a completely new path. Here, you'll learn how to break free from mental chains, challenge limiting beliefs, and step into a life where your choices are truly your own. So, ask yourself, are you living your life, or just performing a script someone else wrote? If you've been searching for clarity, direction, and the courage to reinvent yourself, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear could change the way you see everything. Nietzsche often gets misread as if his will to power were a blueprint for crushing others, but a deeper look shows it's really about expanding one's own capacity to live fully. Picture an athlete pushing their body to run faster or lift heavier, not to humiliate the competition, but to see how far they can go. Or a writer refining every sentence, not for applause, but because the act itself fuels their growth. The essence here is self-mastery, where the opponent isn't another person, it's yesterday's version of yourself. And once you grasp that, the whole idea of personal ambition changes shape. To channel this kind of growth, Nietzsche believed goals needed to check for boxes. First, they had to mean something to you, not just impress the crowd. Second, they had to be challenging enough to stretch you beyond the comfort zone. Third, they needed to build genuine excellence in your craft, mind, or body. And fourth, they had to be rooted in your individuality, not borrowed from someone else's script for life. This isn't the same as chasing what's trendy, it's about chasing what's true. Think of someone who's always loved music but works in finance because it's safe. The will to power in Nietzsche's sense would challenge them to bring music back into their life, whether that's composing at night, joining a band, or even teaching others. It's about turning your inner compass back on and following it, even if the path is uncertain. And here's the twist. Once you begin walking that road, you realize this process isn't a one-time project, it's the start of something much bigger waiting just beyond the next step. When Nietzsche spoke about the will to power, he didn't picture someone living a quiet, cushy life. He imagined a person waking up each day ready to test themselves against the resistance the world throws at them. That resistance could be fear whispering, "You can't do it," criticism from others trying to shrink your dreams, or even the simple lack of resources that forces you to get creative. In his view, these obstacles aren't there to block you, they're there to sharpen you. Just like muscles only grow when pushed against weight, the human spirit expands when pressed by challenge. The beauty of this mindset is that it turns life into an endless series of levels to conquer. You reach a goal. Great, now aim higher. Finish a marathon. Sign up for an ultra. Mastered a new skill. Find a harder one. This is the cycle Nietzsche admired. Each victory opens the door to the next challenge, creating a rhythm of constant self-surpassing. And yes, it's exhausting at times, but it's the kind of exhaustion that leaves you stronger, not weaker. The opposites, chasing comfort slowly, dulls the edge of who you could be. If you've ever noticed that the most alive you felt was after doing something you didn't think you could, you've already tasted what Nietzsche meant. That burst of energy, that quiet pride, it's proof that your will to power thrives on discomfort. The trick is to stop running from it. Instead, treat resistance like a sparring partner who keeps you sharp, and somewhere along that road, you start to realize the next step isn't about avoiding the hard stuff, it's about leaning into it so that the next climb calls you forward. Happiness, in Nietzsche's eyes, was never the prize you chased, it was the byproduct of becoming more powerful in your own life. And here's the twist. That power doesn't mean control over others, but the deep, satisfying sense that you've grown after facing something difficult. Think back to a time you overcame a fear, finished a brutal project, or kept going when quitting felt easier. That quiet surge inside, that's the happiness he spoke of, not the fleeting buzz of comfort, but the lasting warmth of self-overcoming. This reframes suffering in a way most people never consider. Instead of treating it as a mistake in life's design, Nietzsche saw it as a raw ingredient in the recipe of personal power. It's like the heat that transforms raw dough into bread. Without it, nothing rises. Rather than numbing pain or waiting for some better world to erase it, He urged, embracing it as the very fuel for transformation. In today's world, where comfort is sold as the ultimate goal, this can feel like swimming against the current, but that's exactly why it works. And when life is built on this cycle, facing resistance, growing through it, and feeling the quiet joy that follows it, becomes an active way of living that pushes back against modern passivity. No more drifting with the tide, waiting for luck or rescue. Instead, each day becomes another round in the lifelong practice of self-surpassing. And the moment you start living this way, you realize the real question isn't how can I be happy, but what's the next mountain I'm willing to climb. So, here's the truth. Everything you've just heard means nothing if it stays as theory in your mind. Nietzsche's ideas only transform lives when they're put into motion. So, what's the first challenge you're going to face, head on, starting today? What fear will you confront? What habit will you break? What skill will you start building? Because the moment you act, you've already stepped into the arena where real growth happens. Ask yourself, are you living as a passive observer of your own life, or as the active creator of the person you're becoming? Every obstacle you've been avoiding is also a door to the version of yourself you've been searching for. But here's the thing, no one else can walk through it for you. And the longer you wait, the more comfortable you become with a life that's less than you're capable of living. If this message hit you, don't let it fade into the background noise of your day. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and keep learning how to build the strongest, truest version of yourself. The next lesson could be the one that changes everything, if you're willing to hear it.